The following is a semi-professional... fuck it, read it yourself. Oh, fucking, I say all right at the beginning of every episode. I realized that the other day.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Welcome to Nihilhalla's playthrough of Warhammer 40k Space Marine.
So you turned into like a fucking beatnik radio talk show host? And welcome to Nihilhalla's Space Marine playthrough.
I mean, what do you want me to say, man? Like, I'm sorry, I say alrighty at the beginning of it, I guess because I'm getting like, alright, I'm ready, but, you know...
I wonder if we'll get our first cease and desist since Games Workshop is such a evil company.
Maybe. We're starting a new campaign. I've played a little bit of this on normal. I know this is actually a point of contention whether or not I should be in the game chair for this playthrough, but I absolutely know almost nothing about the, and yes, I'm playing on normal, I know almost nothing about the Warhammer mythos.
But I know so goddamn much.
And the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. You know, they ripped that off. You know,
from what?
Mech Warrior.
When was Mech Warrior made?
In like the 70s, I think.
Really?
Maybe early 80s, but the thing is, Mech Warrior's thing was like, oh, it's the 31st or the 21st century or something like that, and mankind is once again at war.
That doesn't seem like a huge rip.
No, it's not a straight rip-off, but like the concept of battle walkers and shit like that was definitely straight rip from the Mech Warrior, the BattleTech franchise.
I mean, there's very few walkers in 40k, though.
And one of you, like, fucking keen-minded individuals is going to try and, like, ram it down my throat that BattleTech was actually a rip-off of fucking Games Workshop. But,
well, I know Games Workshop is 30 years old.
I mean, BattleTech celebrated its fucking 35-year anniversary not too long ago, I think. I'll double-check later. No, the Adeptus Astartes Ultra Smurf Marines! That's about all I know.
It's because they're blue. They're, in the game, they don't really have any, funness to them. Games Workshop was founded in 1975. And
now look up FASA Studios.
Facet Studios?
FASA, F-A-S-A. They're the ones that, let's turn the game volume down a little bit on our headsets here. And then I'll edit that in post.
For when this game came out, it's pretty.
Yeah, no, this game's fucking gorgeous. But
was founded in 1995.
FASA Studios?
Yes,
that was the video game production company, though. Was
Tabletop was 1995 as well.
Really?
Yes.
BattleTech is that new? I didn't think BattleTech was that new. Well, color me stupid, I guess. I still think BattleTech is better than Warhammer 40k. Oh no, controversial point!
I can see what you mean. I think my thing where I will argue 40k is there's so much fucking lore that you literally can go into whatever you'd like.
Sure. The only thing I don't like about 40k is that everything that's anything that's fucking advertised is these bastards. Like, different color schemes, sure, but the armor looks very similar across any two fucking
well, it's explained.
No, I understand the explanation was like humanity was all one big piece, they all served the Grand Emperor of Mankind or some shit like that, and then they were split off into factions and they started warring for his affection or some shit like that.
That's a easy rundown of it, but in a lot of video games, excuse me, it kind of sucks because the original Primarchs and whatnot were really cool looking, and each Space Marine chapter is really awesome and has a lot of differences. As far as the tabletop goes, they've, like it used to be, Space Wolves are a larger army now that are popular. They're kind of the Space Vikings, basically. they ride on giant wolves and stuff.
Yeah, Lehman Russ was the leader of the Space Wolves, right?
Correct. And before, there were no Space Wolf models, so you basically just had to buy Space Marines and make them Space Wolves. Well, now they've updated them quite a number of times to be their own army, and they have little, teeth and stuff on them and axes and stuff that looks more Space Wolfy, if you will.
I think personally the reason I loved the concept of the Space Wolves, and we're playing now, the reason I loved the concept of the Space Wolves was actually just one quote, which was a fortress circumvented ceases to be an obstacle, a fortress destroyed ceases to be a threat, and you should never forget the difference.
Oh man, I forgot they actually have Gretchen in here too.
Oh Jesus.
The Grots. So, I'll know a fair amount about the orcs because the way that Games Workshop does the lore.
These are boys that I'm killing right now, right?
Yeah, these are just boys. The orcs have a societal construct, and you'll kind of see it here where whoever is the biggest and strongest is in charge. So the little goblin-y creatures are Gretchen. They're like kind of mismatched orcs. They're grown specifically. And this is kind of some of the coolest lore that I've ever loved about orcs in general. So...
Interesting. So it said to use E and mouse 4, which I'm sure is because I played the Exterminatus with Noodles and ASCII. ASCII is my brother. But we played the Exterminatus of this, and basically I just see it as like the old Killing Floor survival and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
And it's enjoyable on its own just for that factor. But I will say the weapon mechanics leave a lot to be desired. Not because of weapon customization or anything like that, but there's a super long range, super high damage weapon, and then there's a super short range, super high damage weapon, but there's no middle ground that doesn't suck.
That is a lot like the regular tabletop of 40k, though.
Well, I mean...
because, and what, they'll argue is, if you notice with just the display and everything, the whole point of, anything in the Warhammer universe is supposed to just be a spectacle at every turn. Everything is outlandish, down to the armor, to the weapons.
Have you played some of the MechWarrior games?
I have.
I would love to play MechWarrior Online on the show.
Ooh, see, that's a boss.
Okay.
Not this, video game boss, but that's a war boss. And see how he's, much bigger than the other orcs?
Yeah.
So he's in charge of his warband, which is all where these boys are coming from.
Now, Noodles is also a fantastic source of information with regards to the 40k mythos, and I think...
me and him have talked numerous times on the clan.
Yeah.
About 40k, because Noodles and I both play the tabletop.
End of Steel Internals is probably my only ally with MechWarrior mythos. But it's really funny that the Meltaguns in this and the fucking Flamers in MechWarrior are effectively the same thing. The MechWarrior Flamer is the fusion reactor of the mech in question, just gets vented out the nozzle at the end.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And the Meltagun in this is just a quick snapshot of a nuclear reaction. There's a nuclear reaction in a tube, and then they just open the
chamber.
Yeah, open the chamber real quick. So we're playing this, by the way, for anybody that was curious, we're playing this on the same rig that we played Metro on, the same rig that we've played Shantae on, the same rig that we played pretty much everything on. Actually, no, I do believe everything.
Yeah. Wrecking the orc shit.
Yeah. Go Smurfs. I had a thought earlier about Lehman Russ and the Space Wolves. I think it was just the philosophy that Lehman Russ had regarding fortresses.
You told the quote.
Yeah, that philosophy, though, behind the quote is what I appreciate so much about the Space Wolves, I think. And there was a connecting thread on MechWarrior. The MechWarrior games are spectacle from start to stop. The only thing I hate about MechWarrior Online is that you can't be an infantryman, you can't be a tank, you can't be an elemental suit. Like, it's not like...
You have to be a mech.
Yeah, you have to be a mech, and it's incredibly unrealistic because even though it's approximately the number of mechs that you would see in a conflict over, like, any given planet... The infantry forces, armored forces, and
there's the title again.
And aerospace. That's all significantly underrepresented in the online game. MechWarrior 4, I think, was the best for that because MechWarrior 4 had a whole bunch of tanks on the ground, and they weren't just chumps. They weren't.
From Imperial Guard forces on the ground.
I love how much you're talking about MechWarrior playing this 40k game.
Well, you know, MechWarrior is as close to 40k as I've gotten, really, and like as close as I've gotten in, like, really into any fandom. But do you know what sci-fi fandom I really got into as a kid?
What's that?
Stargate.
No, I love Stargate too.
And I always thought it would be funny, like, because I remember watching SG-1, like a couple of reruns of SG-1 recently, and I don't remember in SG-1 anything ever like trying to go through the gate.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about Stargate more on the next episode of Nihilhalla.
Well, we could talk about 40k too, but yeah, I want to finish that thought about Stargate. Anyway, we'll see you next time, Nondescripts, and we'll kill some more orcs here in a second.